Hello, guys. Welcome to another episode of the Commerce Lab by Ecomcy, the place of everything related to Amazon, FBA, private label, and e-commerce. My name is Vincenzo Toscano, founder and CEO of Ecomcy. And today we bring you another special guest. His name is Andrew Morgan, who is the CEO of Marknology, which is an amazing agency when it comes to helping you scale your brand on Amazon. And what a better person actually than Andrew to talk around today's topic, which is what are the latest strategies when it comes to building your e-commerce brand on Amazon. We're going to talk about all the trends, what is happening, what are the good things, what are the bad things, and we're going to make it very engaging for you today on this episode. So, Andrew, welcome to the show. How you doing, my friend?
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Long overdue. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, man, it's a pleasure. I think we've been planning this for 3-4 months, but we made it. That's the life of a CEO, man. Whenever you were available, I was traveling. When I was available, you were traveling, but we made it, man. That's what matters.
Happy to be here. Happy to be here.
Thank you, man. Thank you. I think after seeing everything you've been doing in the space, the knowledge you put out there and everything, I think for sure is great to have you on. I think today we're gonna share a lot of knowledge when it comes to strategy. I think before we jump into that, though, I usually like to do this with all my guests, which is get to know them, because people that watch this show, maybe they don't know you. And I think your story for sure is going to be very inspiring when it comes to understanding where you were and where you are right now in terms of how you got into the commerce space. And if you can share that with us and go from there. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm long-winded, but I'll try to keep it short for the listeners. I've been in the Amazon space about 12 years.
Wow.
Uh, for anyone out there, like I was raised in Africa until I was 16. I came back to the United States. I didn't adjust very well in high school. Like
Hmm.
for us, that's 11th and 12th grade. I just went from a very serious place to a where they're passing love notes and popularity and things like that, and it just didn't. I didn't understand how to fit in. So
Mm-hmm.
um, after high school, I went to Hawaii and I started the university there, and I actually got a degree in computer science,
Mm.
networking and security.
Oh.
So that degree took me like 6 years. I took my time getting it. Uh,
You had some fun.
yeah, I had some fun, and actually, I was doing my very first business. I After Hawaii, I moved back to Kansas City, and I tried out on Craigslist for
Mm.
a rock band. And
Okay.
they were serious. It wasn't like just practice in your garage, like to get
Yeah.
girls. It was like the real deal. So,
Wow.
recording albums, merchandise, touring.
Wow. Which
Uh,
instrument were you playing in that case?
I played bass guitar at the
Oh,
time.
nice.
So I just always grew up playing music in church and things like that. So I've just always
Okay.
been a
I
musician,
see.
and so they needed a bass player. I tried out, I made the band, and I was with them for 4.5 years. So
Oh.
that was really my first leap into branding, because we were trying to get signed by labels. We had, like, it's almost like trying to get bought by an aggregator or something, right?
Yeah.
You're like positioning your story, your branding, your look, your aesthetic.
Yeah.
Where have you played? Where have you toured? Who have you toured with?
Mm-hmm.
Like, how many do you have more albums coming out? What's your merch look like? So these were some of the early things I learned, just kind of about how to work together with other people, and go on tour for 6 weeks at a time, 8 weeks at a time, come back home, like a launch kind of thing. Really learning some strategies around brand building and business. But I got tired of being poor, and like,
That's a good one.
the
Like me as well.
it really was like I love playing music. I just hated the lifestyle of like always being
Mm.
behind and never being able to help anyone, and never having abundance. So um, I quit touring, and I started a job in my degree, networking and security. I um, had never made this type of money before. It was not crazy, but it was like 45,000. And I'm from a poor family. Like, my family of five made
Mm.
like 30K maybe. So
Wow.
growing up. So I'm the first to get a college degree, the first male to get a college degree in my family, and I get a job, and I'm like making pretty good money, especially when you're used to living like a band guy, like
Mm-hmm.
cheap,
Yeah.
affordable, low budget. Like, I can live however, and was making more money, but I hated the job. I was like always good at computers, and growing up I was like building computers and
Mm-hmm.
all that type of stuff. And I found myself in a job where I was performing well. I was like, you know, doing everything required of me, excelling quickly. But I hated networking and security. At least at this job, this knock job, you just sit and wait on stuff to break.
That's right.
And I hated it. Like it was 12-hour shifts of like
Mm.
maybe fixing an hour worth of problems and 11 hours of reading cop subtitles on TV or something. You
Yeah.
know, so I hated it, and I kind of told myself like if this is IT, if this is computer science, like I'm gonna give it one more try at another job and then I'm done. I hate this.
Mm.
And that was when I started Ecom. I moved to Tampa, Florida at the time. I took a job at a startup. I was employee number 3.
Okay.
And it was like an older owner, a guy that did websites, and then there was me. And they were like, we want you contacting manufacturers, distributors, and putting all these products on eBay and Amazon. And we were doing car parts at the time.
Mm-hmm.
So there were no descriptions for car parts. There were no fluffy titles. Like, so, you know, this was all stuff that had to be concatenated in Excel and really built out. And I was
Yeah.
having a blast. Like, I was making combo sets of car parts, like trailer hitches and the lights and the ball mount, and I'd put them
Yeah.
together in like a Photoshop picture and then
Mm-hmm.
sell it on eBay. And because I was combining the units, we combined shipping, and I was able to get cheaper prices
Mm.
than everyone
Smart.
else.
Yeah.
And this was 12 years ago, right? So uh, I did over $1 million in sales in my first year at that company, and
Wow.
I was hooked. I was just like having so much fun building these
Mm.
combos, these sets, contacting distributors. I was going into like the car dealership and taking photos of all of the parts, like
Yeah. I can
making
imagine.
deals with them to buy their parts and sell them online. We were just doing crazy stuff. Well, a relationship took me from Tampa back to Kansas City,
Okay.
and
It's
it
always
ended.
love.
It's always I'm a lover. I'm a hopeless romantic. Like I love really hard. I was raised by missionary parents, you know, so
Good. Good.
it's
Yeah.
built in.
Yeah.
And I was back in Kansas City. The relationship ended. I was like devastated at the time,
Mm.
and I just poured myself into my job. And my job at the time was I was an e-commerce manager at a medium-sized toy retailer.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Maybe 300 employees, 8 retail stores, like doing about 10 million probably
Mm-hmm.
for size reference. And this was just much bigger than a startup. This was a company that had teams and marketing team and graphic
Everything.
design,
Yeah.
photographers. And I found myself kind of what I've built Marknology for, but I found myself inside a medium-sized brand, not a
Mm-hmm.
private label startup, not a reseller, not a wholesaler. I found myself as kind of like the manager, the e-commerce manager of 4 brands that
Mm.
had trademarks, they had brand registry, they had
Mm.
like, and they also had
Professional.
access.
Yeah.
Yeah, they
Mm-hmm.
also had access to Lego and Thomas the Train and some big toy brands. And so I was seeing the power of those big brand names was building basically their level of private label, but they were selling them to toy retailers. They were never thinking Amazon when they built these brands. They were just
Mm.
building brands.
Yes.
And I started realizing from internally inside a company of that size, what are all the issues that they have at a company that size that's resistant to Amazon? So customer service was resistant to Amazon, the bookkeeping and accounting, the C-suite,
Mm-hmm.
the brand managers, the graphic design team. Whenever I'd ask for photos, never had time, never had bandwidth. They always had different priorities: the catalog to
Yes.
work on, the store retail marketing. And my 2 years there really taught me or made the framework for how I wanted Marknology to be. It was like, look, I know if I'm pitching another company, if I'm pitching another, let's say a food company or a toy company, I'm gonna have to maybe the guy I'm talking to is worried about the bookkeeper.
Yeah.
She's up his neck, you know. Maybe I'm working about the finance guy or the sales
Yeah.
guys worried about us getting rid of resellers or selling, like, you
Mm-hmm.
know, they're selling to these mom and pops and they're putting it on Amazon and now I'm taking away their salary. I had to
Yes.
think bigger than just sell on Amazon. It was how do I get past all of these conversations
That's
that
right.
are
Mhm.
happening off the phone with me once I'm off the call, to get brands and manufacturers excited about Amazon and really approaching Amazon as a marketplace in a real way. It was
Mm.
definitely a time of demand generation. There were not people just flooding to Amazon. People were not just like
Yeah,
brands were not like excited about it, right?
I know. Yeah,
And
yeah.
it was tough. And so, but I was having success again at US Toys. So just like the car company, we did over 1 million in sales by me paying attention to it. Things like
Wow.
back end search terms, adding photos, making sure
Yeah.
we had descriptions, and then PPC came out. So
Mm.
it was right around that time, 2014, 2015. PPC comes out. Uh, Raise time came. I got a 20-cent raise, which to anyone that knows, like that's like $800 a year or something across the
Yeah,
year. And
yeah.
just something went off in my head that was like, look, at that time I was getting 2 weeks vacation. I was so those 2 weeks of vacation, I went to see my mother in Florida. I wasn't like getting to see the world, you know. I
Yeah.
didn't have real freedom, and but this was pulling me out of my like depressed state of my relationship. It was a
Yes.
low, right? And so I was excited about ecom. I get 20-cent raise. That tells me, okay, you have to think differently, Drew. You have to get another job, maybe paying more and move, or something else. I start reading these
Mhm.
blogs about like how to really supplement your income, how to get ahead of debt, how to like, you know, pay off your school loans, how to like,
Yeah.
and they start telling me about Upwork. And
Mm.
so Upwork, Elance, freelancer.com.
Yeah.
I had never met an entrepreneur. I didn't know what the word meant. I didn't even know business.
Yeah.
I didn't grow up knowing business owners. Okay. That's not just, my dad was a different kind of dad. You know, he's a
Yeah.
preacher. We traveled, we did church stuff, nonprofit stuff.
Mhm.
I saw how to build stuff from nothing, like a church group or a community or
Sure.
a building, but I wasn't shown business. I wasn't shown finances. I wasn't shown those kinds of things. And so,
Mhm.
I read this, take this blog seriously though. I set up accounts, profiles on these freelancer sites. And mind you, something about having your heart broken is a catalyst. Like hitting a low is really a catalyst for
Yes,
a
that's so
lot of
true.
change. You know, I didn't
Mhm.
have a whole bunch of friends trying to hang out. I didn't have girls trying to go on a date every night. I didn't have like I wasn't out at the bars trying to find girls. My heart was broken. And so I
Mm.
was at home being like, I'm gonna show her I'm gonna be amazing. I'm
Yeah.
gonna build an empire, you know, like I'm gonna
You want
show
to
her
prove
like,
yourself. Yeah, of
yeah, I had
course.
to prove myself. And so, but it gave me a lot more time. And I really was spending like once I started freelancing on Elance and freelancer.com, Upwork, started spending like 120 hours a week, which I know
Wow.
sounds crazy, but I was obsessed. And I had nobody asking for my time. I was left alone. I'd go to work, I'd come home, and I would freelance. And
Mm.
before long, Upwork bought Elance,
Mhm.
and I got top 10 in the world on the market in the marketing category. So
Wow.
digital marketing had a category. There wasn't as many categories back then, and I was the only one doing Amazon services at that time
Mm. Okay.
on these sites. Someone can try to score my answers on that, but I don't think anybody else would have earlier start dates than me and reviews around that time on Amazon work on those sites. And I was winning by default. I was just because
Yes.
I was there in the right
Early
spot.
AI adapter, basically. Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah, just I was out early, and I started getting clients like Adidas, Suiza,
Wow.
you know, some really big names that I wasn't an amazing marketer at that time. I wasn't an amazing Amazon consultant or expert. I was just hungry, and I was like in a space no one else was, and I was paying attention to something that no one else was. I was
That's right.
looking for problems to solve. I wasn't trying to start a business. I was trying to be the best ecom expert that I could be, and I saw a huge opportunity. And once I started making $400 or $500 a weekend on these little Amazon projects, light bulb went off in my head. And as I outperformed Adidas, like whoever they had white label me, and Suiza white label me, and I'm like
Mhm.
uploading A+ content on Vendor Central. In 2015, it was like no
I
one
know.
had Vendor Central and no one had A+
Yeah.
or EBC
Yeah.
at the time. And I also saw the value. So one, I see the value of or the conversations within a medium-sized brand. I see the opportunity for an Amazon marketplace consultant or entrepreneur in the space.
Mm-hmm.
I started outperforming anyone that was trying to do it, at least at these bigger companies. These were just like PPC guys, Facebook guys,
Yes,
and
of course.
Amazon PPC didn't run that way. It was different.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't get to choose the photos. You had to
No.
have a good photo. And then also working on those brands early on, I saw the value of great content. So
Mm,
Adidas, when they bought this company, My Coach, they brought me in to do the A plus and I upload the
mm-hmm.
images and the listings, and they had amazing visuals. And so I put those visuals in place in A plus and PDP with Vendor Central, allowed me to do all of that. And
I
I
know.
saw the power of
Yeah.
great converting images.
Yes.
Okay, I'm
Super
looking at the
powerful.
data,
Mm-hmm.
but if you think about this in 2015, for example, no one was talking content on Amazon.
Yeah, of course. It was just putting the pro the most basic form you could do, like just to put something out there
Search,
and that's
find,
it.
buy,
Yeah, yeah,
giveaways for reviews. PPC was so cheap.
yeah. I
The
know.
guys that could make a quick buck were there and they were making millions, some of them.
I
But
know.
I was a tinkerer. I was like trying to be Einstein of Amazon. I wanted to know how all this shit worked. I was enthralled with it. I was enamored with it. You know, I was just like, what are all the little dials I can change and move and get?
Yeah,
Because people were hiring me to solve their problems. So already I was in the problem solving mode. That's why I was getting hired. And I was
yeah.
like, oh, this tweak does this, and this tweak. Oh, sure, you can do giveaways,
Mm-hmm.
but what about my guys that don't have a bunch of product to give away? Or what about my guys that can't spend all this PPC? Or what about,
Yeah.
does this SEO thing work? Does this work? Does this work?
Yeah, I was gonna
And
mention that I think the beauty of your journey is because you start from the very bottom. You saw all the different scenarios that a brand goes through when struggling, when succeeding, the things that you need to do in the back end, and that I guess you are using that right now in your agency, right? Yeah.
yeah, so that was really kind of the founding blocks of like why I built Marknology this way when so many people did different things. Some people were going brand direct, some were buying the product,
Mm-hmm.
selling it themselves, some were just creating these massive wholesale companies, some of them were creating, retail arbitrage. I didn't have capital. I was going through a divorce at the time,
Mm,
a bad breakup, and I was trying to think about how to get on my feet. And so I was doing services for other people instead of like building my own thing. But along the way, I learned so much by
I
solving
bet.
people's
Yeah.
problems, right?
Yeah.
So, long story short, I start making more on a weekend than I was making like in my whole raise, right?
I know.
And I got a couple clients that were like, and this at this time, like what we do now did not have a dollar amount attached to it. It was like,
Mm-hmm.
maybe 15 an hour, 20 an
Yeah.
hour on a project or something. But it might take me 100 hours. I would underbid it because I didn't know how hard it was till I got into it or something like that, and on
That's
Upwork
right.
you have to make these bids and bid the
Yeah. Yes.
projects. And but I was spending hundreds of hours learning. Like when someone asked me like about Amazon expertise or this or that, like I'm 20,000 hours in. I'm
You
not
have
saying
seen everything, man. You have seen
I
everything.
don't know everything, but I really have. If anyone's listening, I guess what I'm trying to say is like I put the time in. I put the time in
That's what
to
matters.
know my
Yeah.
craft. And now
Mm.
I'm spending a lot of time learning other things like how to grow a business, how to run a team, how to be a leader, how to manage, how to communicate, how to all these other skills. But before that, I was obsessed about this platform and I
Wow.
put in those hours, right? And
I know.
so that gives you a level of confidence. I think I'd never
Yeah.
been that good at something before. Like,
Wow.
where I was never like the soccer stud, like the athlete, or like I love
Yeah.
sports. I loved all those things, but I was never like, I was always good, not great.
Not.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it was mainly about the time. I had ADHD. I would switch things. I would try other things. I would like,
Mm.
oh, I want to go fish. Oh, I want to go play soccer. Oh, I want to. But when
Yeah.
I found e-commerce, I was like
Fell in
hooked.
love, man.
Yes. It was like
Yeah.
the perfect blend of my name Marknology is a mixture of marketing and technology. That's how I feel like
Interesting. Okay.
e-commerce kind of sits in the middle of both marketing and technology. You need both to
Yeah.
execute on e-com. And that's what it was for me. It was kind of like the music days, like where it
Yeah.
was not super controlled. It was kind of the Wild West. The best man or woman could survive, like could perform. Like, I don't know about you, but I'm nobody from nothing.
Yeah. Right.
And ecom has been the great equalizer for me. It's
Yeah.
the best of us get to compete. So getting to the end of my story, like long story short, these are the founding blocks of why I launched
Hmm.
Marknology. I got a couple brands that were like, hey, stay on a monthly basis and continue to run, my store for me. And those were little small private label guys at the time. And now the team is working, with brands as large as Nestle and Mayo Clinic and some very big brands that we shop with. And
Yeah.
we're a team of 45.
Wow.
So we're everywhere from Mexico, Colombia, Florida, New York, and then a large portion of us here in Kansas City. Oh, we've actually got 2 employees in Europe now too. So
Ah, nice.
we're excited about that. And ultimately, we are a company that solve for all the parts of Amazon because we
Yeah.
felt that that was important, even though it took me forever to get there. It was like, as I solved all these people's problems, I saw that every little thing
Yeah, man.
on
Every single
Amazon.
post I bet you see on LinkedIn, you think I went through that.
Yeah, I do. I really do. And it's like as I fixed all these problems, like I saw that every little thing on Amazon mattered, like from the way you fill out the listing to the
Yeah.
SEO to the reviews, the return rate, conversion rate, your PPC, your
Everything
engagement.
moves the needle. Every single thing moves the
So
needle
I
slightly.
needed to
Yeah.
solve for all of it if I was going to be the best. And so I built a company really we've got now people much better in different areas than me. We've got
Mm-hmm.
graphic designers and photographers and PPC guys and all kinds of stuff. And yeah, we're just doing our best. I'm building my own brands. I've got 10 of my own brands. That's something fun and exciting for me. We've got a fulfillment center where we're growing that. We're in year 3 of that. One for my own brands, but also as a service to any other brands we're working with. And
Okay.
we're just onwards and upwards. So that's the
Wow.
scope of my story and
Man, love it.
and my
Thank you.
team and how we got there.
Man, it's amazing. Thank you for sharing that. I think we actually share some similarities there. I think I also went through the same thing that I had a job. I didn't really like what I was doing as an engineer. And then I discovered e-commerce and the same thing. I devoured that content like hours and hours and hours. And that brought me to also doing the agency. So it's
I
amazing to
love
see that
that.
we actually share the same background, man. Now, I bet after all these, hours that you have spent into learning, and now with all these clients that you have under the agency, I bet you have figured out what are the best strategies, right? I mean, you are seeing the trends, you see what is happening in the space, you see what things are not working, what things are working. And I think right now in 2023, we are seeing that the space is getting more complicated, more competition. The economy is also getting a hit when it comes to sales in e-commerce as a whole. And I think I would like to start with, what do you think in 2023 right now is the thing that people is struggling the most when it comes to selling on Amazon? And what is maybe some advice you can provide around that so we can kickstart that? Yeah.
Yeah. So for me, we've worked with over 400 brands. So whether I physically have done it or mentally have done it, there's been a scoring card
Yeah.
of this worked, this didn't work, this worked,
Mm-hmm.
this didn't work. Like, when we worked with this brand, wow, it's amazing. We crush it on Amazon. When we worked with this brand, we didn't. What happened? Was it a personality issue? Was it a people issue? Was it a budget issue? Was it a product quality issue? Was it, pricing issue? And so you start getting this kind of checklist of the things that will make for a successful Amazon brand and the things that won't. For me, like if I'm signing a new client, right? Because that's kind of what I think of my job now as a CEO is I go and I R&D, I find new
Mm-hmm.
partners, I try new things. I'm still the one that tinkers and tries new things. Like I've been working on TikTok funnels, for example,
Mm. Okay.
myself. Like I'm not saying I've learned everything about Amazon, but I'm also now a little bit off Amazon, figuring out
That's good, man. Yeah.
what are the things I can play with, right?
Yeah.
And so, these are the things that I've worked with brands that have a big influencer behind them. Okay.
Okay.
So as you're doing these things, you're like, wow, what worked? It's changed so much since, let's say 2013 to 2023, in the
I
last
know.
10 years. PPCs got harder. You can't do giveaways and reviews. Like the review
Mm.
process has gotten super tight. Competition has grown. The Chinese are more in the market than they've ever been. On and on and on. And so for me, it's not. I'm not going to give you guys an easy answer. I'm going to try to give you a little bit
Mm.
harder one. But that's maybe there's some meat on the bones there. So like
Yeah.
as the CEO, and I have a team now, a young team that's talented. That I'm always trying to keep them with fun projects. Okay, so
Mm-hmm.
keep them interested. They're 22, 23, 24
They
years
want to
old.
learn. Yeah.
Want to learn, got to keep them new projects. So as the CEO, as the main sales guy, I'm always thinking about this. I'm not just picking them the most boring projects, even though there's money there. I am thinking about those things. And so for us, some of that has meant I've moved into learning slash signing, working with big influencer brands. Okay.
Okay.
And so I'm not, there's learning in this for anyone even doing private label, is because you can partner with an influencer to do this. But whenever,
Yes.
like I've had the brand Brush, BRUUSH, and it's a
Mm-hmm.
electric toothbrush brand from Canada.
Yep.
We're doing great in Canada. We're doing okay in US. I've been with them from the very beginning of their company, by the way. And then they signed Kevin Hart 2 years ago. And
Okay.
boom,
Yeah.
like the US market explodes on Amazon,
I
right?
can imagine.
Boom,
Yeah.
little checkbox, that worked, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm working with Nikita Dragon out of LA. She launches Dragon Beauty, a makeup brand. She makes pushes to Amazon. Boom, that works. Okay, working with
Mm.
Bobby Parrish, a YouTuber, a food guy that goes through the aisles and tells you what's good food, what's
Yeah.
bad for you,
Mm-hmm.
what's healthy.
Yes.
People love him, love him.
Yeah.
Flav City, boom, month 3 we're doing 100,000 plus on Amazon. We're crushing it,
Wow.
right?
Crazy.
Uh, another brand, an author with a book and a big diet plan. She's got a great following. Launched products on Amazon, boom, crushing it. So said all of that to say, like, that's obviously a mental note in my head that if we have off Amazon traffic coming to Amazon,
A
or we have
community,
this
basically. A
a
community.
community already existing, and then we launch a product on Amazon, boom, successful, right?
Mm.
So that should put light bulbs in people's heads, because there's a lot you can do. Not just, you don't have to have a Kevin Hart to do that,
Yeah,
right?
of course. Yeah.
You could
Mm-hmm.
use an army of small influencers. You could use, like, go build a brand
Micro
and partner
influencers.
with an athlete in your city that's crushing it. Anything to basically bring that extra firepower. So some of the things working, building brands with an influencer as the face, or
As an
partnered with them.
ambassador, basically. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I think there's like ambassador programs. Like, I'm a big ambassador. Like, I'm an ambassador of Carbon 6. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not part of their company. I use their software. I get affiliate links, commissions on promoting the software if it works. I'm an ambassador for them.
Mm-hmm.
Right. What I just mentioned, and that can work. You can have like a whole ambassador program. But what I was talking about is more so a brand built around that ambassador.
Okay.
Think like the guy Logan Paul or Jake Paul that
Yes.
just boxed, right? And then they've got that prime drink,
Yeah. I
right?
mean, they're killing
So,
it because of that. They had the audience already. Yeah.
and that's a big one. I wish I almost had a smaller example, but it's like it makes you think that is their drink, right? It's not
Mm-hmm.
just they're promoting the drink.
That's
That is
right.
the drink that they made, or Conor McGregor and his Proper One whiskey. These are examples. But I know everyone hears about influencer marketing, so I want to keep going with a couple other ideas, right?
Mm-hmm.
So those ones would be big wins for me. They come to me, they start talking to me. I'm like, the team's going to love this. We're going to be successful. I know we can put products up on Amazon and make them look amazing already. So number one, the baseline is we're already amazing at Amazon. Okay.
Yeah.
Meaning like great photos, great copy, variations look good. A+ looks good. Storefront looks good. These are all the assumptions that already exist. Okay. Then now what works on Amazon is, I guess, what I'm
Yeah.
getting at. It's like,
Yeah.
right. So if I know that if we do all of that and then we have this push, we're going to crush it.
Kill it.
Right.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So one, that's a great way. That's what's working on Amazon today. And these are like just remixed ways of what used to work in the past. You used to be able
Yes.
to build chat bots and get a big email blast and
That's
send
right.
them out, or
Mm-hmm.
you used to be able to do these things. Now you can't do that. How do you do it white hat in
That's
2023?
the issue. Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Influencer marketing, for example. And Carbon 6 has a tool like Me,
That's
sets up
right.
all these attribution links and stuff like that. So that's why I brought them up. Now, another one would be a home run for us almost every time on Amazon. We're going to crush it, is when we meet a great D2C brand.
Oh,
Okay,
okay.
so a
Okay.
brand, this is not for Amazon private label sellers, because a lot of them are like, I want to do D2C well. Okay,
Yeah.
and that's not for everyone, because not every product is made for a D2C
That's
site,
right.
right?
Mm-hmm.
But if I meet a brand that has a good website, let's say doing 500,000 a year, a million a
Yeah.
year
Which is
minimum,
good. Yeah.
Okay,
Hmm.
so they've got their customer lifetime value figured out. They've got their AOVs figured out. They probably have their MVP products figured out. They have what sells well together. They have some of these things already like figured out.
That's right.
And if they've figured that out enough to get to the point of 500,000 in sales or a million in sales, and we put them on Amazon, home run almost every time.
Yeah, because you're opening a new window for customers now. They have the option to shop with Prime, even with this new thing in the US, buy with Prime that you could even embed within the website. I mean, there are so many things that I feel I totally agree with that D2C can take advantage because I feel sometimes people convert more on Amazon just for the sake of having Prime
And
or you
anyone
know.
doing D2C well is doing Facebook ads or TikTok or Instagram or like is an influencer or something like that. So
Mhm.
they've already got they're already spending money or like
Yeah.
pushing marketing. And what they don't know is that there's already a large amount of that going to Amazon to look for their
Anyway,
stuff.
yeah, yeah,
So what you're doing is you're capitalizing on that flow over traffic, making sure you capture it, and you're
I know.
building an Amazon brand just like you'd build an Amazon brand with PPC and SEO. So it's a double whammy. And really, like as an agency owner, boom. If they have a big influencer, I'm winning. If they have a great D2C site, I'm winning.
Yeah,
Uh,
it's funny because I sometimes we have done audits with brands and actually the brand name sometimes has a huge search volume and nobody's actually typing into the brand name and that's traffic you're wasting. So yeah, I
or a
totally agree.
competitor is
Yeah,
stealing it,
yeah,
right? Like,
yeah. They're doing ads on the
you know,
brand name. Yeah.
I've had a
Hmm.
small brand and I type in my brand name and big brands are sitting on the small brand names,
That's
right?
right.
Like if they have
Mhm.
a great PPC team, if they have a great marketing team, they're taking
Mhm.
advantage of all of that. So that would be another one, a great D2C. Now another one for us that we're doing well is a manufacturer,
Mhm.
traditionally a US manufacturer, but doesn't have to be. But this is how I've diversified my agency where I'm not just in China. Supply chain didn't crush me entirely. Pandemic didn't crush me entirely. Why? Because I had a variety of different brands and products I was working with. And I had US manufacturers trying to go direct on Amazon. Okay. So this
Mm.
is like the
Mm.
companies that make like printer ink for Office Max or Office Depot or Best Buy or Circuit City. And they make all of their brands and I'm contacting them and they're contacting me and they're like, we want to make a brand that we own ourselves and go direct on Amazon. Does that make
Mm.
sense?
Okay.
So
I
the
see.
reason why this one is a winning strategy, because not everyone's a manufacturer that's calling here, right? But maybe
Yes.
you have contacts, maybe you don't. Maybe you partner with one that does and you say, hey, I know Amazon, you have manufacturing, let's partner and go. But this works because the margin is usually so great. Okay, because you're not getting these markups down the line, all these middle people, and you're going straight to the source of whoever's making this product, right? And so
Mhm.
a lot of the issues or the troubles, the difficulties right now is profit margin, right? Like
That's right.
getting a profitable products, getting profitable, getting your brand profitable. So going straight to the manufacturer, one, typically the manufacturer is slow to make decisions and they're not like quick to change their mind.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
if
Takes
they're
time.
into something, they're into it. And
Mhm.
they also care about the quality. They've built this maybe for years and years and years to get to this size of a company. They care about the quality of their products. If you give them feedback on reviews or what the competition is doing bad or what they need to improve, they're usually open ears to switching that up and changing it because they can change it right there at the source. You're also getting faster supply chain. You're getting American made. Sometimes
Mhm.
you're getting products that China can't even knock off. So it's like it's a blue ocean in that way. So you
Yeah.
add those things up and a manufacturer going direct. The one thing that they don't know is they don't understand marketing dollars. They don't understand selling individual products to customers. They're used to selling in big bulks or these big customers. They're like their customers Best Buy. They don't
Mhm.
even know sometimes what people are searching to find their
Yeah, yeah.
products or
They don't
buy
know
them.
these things on Amazon, of
So
course.
there's
Yeah.
a ton of education there, which is a heavy lift, but high chance of success because you have a long runway, good margins, quality product, American made,
Exclusivity
supply
in some
chain.
cases, which is you are the only one with that product in the US, for
Yeah,
example.
exactly. So
Mhm.
those would be some of the like, the wins. Obviously, we still work with America or Amazon native brands like made
Yes.
for Amazon. There's still retail, which we haven't talked about, like potentially a product that's doing well in retail that just hasn't made it to Amazon or online yet.
You
That
had
could be
them
a
do the
win.
transition. Yeah.
Yeah, they have good packaging. They have, all those things locked in. Those are good things. Um, but what else is winning on Amazon? Okay, what else is scaling brands? For me as someone building my own brands now, I'm not just an agency trying to pick winners. because I do have a winning reputation. Why? Because I'm choosing winners, guys.
Yeah,
Like,
you know how to filter, vet the
it's
right
not that
people.
I'm not taking on hard projects. I just want to win. I don't want to lose clients. I want to be successful. I want
Yeah.
these brands to crush it. I want to take their money and make them a ton of money.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I care about picking winners. Just like a district attorney or a lawyer would be like, nah, that's a losing case. I don't want my name on that.
The same. Yeah.
It's and so for me, sometimes it's like it's getting more selective and trying to choose winners. I'd rather be working with someone 5 years than work with 50 people over
Yeah.
2 years.
And you lose them after 3, 6 months because there's nothing. Yeah, of
Because
course.
there's nothing there, right? So it's like I can take your money, but like if we don't have a winning formula, we're not going to have a winning formula,
Mm.
And so some of these things change based on the category we're selling in. Okay, like I might get a smaller brand that's not doing well in D2C or whatever, and be like, yeah, but no one is in this category. Let's go crush
Mm.
it.
Yeah.
So everything's subjective. Nothing is like black and white. But in general, I'm looking to say, okay, what do you have to bring to the table besides the product? Do
Mm-hmm.
you have off Amazon? Do you have an email list? Do you have a website? Do you have influencers? Do you have a massive budget? Do you have like, a product that no one else has? Uh what else is happening?
Unique selling point. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
What's your unique selling point? It's not just about putting a product up on a
And be the
karaoke
cheapest.
machine, the
Yeah.
cheapest, and having great content or even great marketing. It used to be cheapest, then it used to be okay, no one's doing content, so if we do content and great storytelling,
Now
we'll
everybody's
be able
doing
to
that as
sell.
well.
Now
Yeah.
everyone's catching up. At least we're not all equal, but everyone's doing it, right?
Yeah.
Catching up, trying new things. As more service providers get out there, more people are getting help, more people are doing all these
Mm-hmm.
things that they should be doing. I'm speaking at conferences, you're speaking on podcasts. People are taking our information and putting it to work. Great, I love that, right?
Mm-hmm.
At the same time, as a consultant, as an expert, as a pro, what's next? Where do I continue to learn to find opportunities to grow my brands? And so for me, a big source of profitability is in the warehouse. So this is not as sexy and fun and whatever, but to everyone listening, it's not a marketing
Yeah.
strategy, but it's like you need to know your numbers.
Yes,
You
true.
need to know your profitability. Your PPC is going to go into that. Your
Yeah.
packaging, your product offering, your bundles,
I
your
know.
efficiencies. Everything
I
is
bet
made
I
in the
bet so
warehouse.
many times you encounter people that they think they're profitable, and I see it every day when we do the audit and everything. They're in red, man, and they don't know for months or even years. It's crazy because they don't
They're
know
in
the
red, and
numbers.
then you're like, "Hey, you're in the red, and I need you to hire me." Like that doesn't go
Yeah,
over that well,
yeah, I know.
because they're already like, "Well, what's happening?" So for us, it's a requirement. Before we even start working with them, we plug them into our tools to see,
Yeah,
what their profitability is, so that we can have a real conversation with them. You
yeah.
know, um, a lot of times I'm avoiding the very successful private label seller, and
I see.
I know we're going a little over on time, but I want to just like bring this home. The reason why is because that private label seller is so stuck in his ways a lot of times
I know.
that
The same.
it becomes a very hard conversation
It's
to
a
try to figure out
confliction. Yeah,
what's going on.
yeah.
Hmm.
Especially if they are sellers that they're already over 7, 8 figures. They already have very strict SOPs processes. Then you come in, it's like changing everything from scratch. I know it is very tricky. I have
And it's
experienced
not
it.
that they're wrong and they don't know anything. It's
Yeah,
that like together we could be very amazing and collaborative and like take our skills and combine them. But that's very rare that they're
yeah.
open
It's
to
difficult.
they want to say, hey, this got me here, it's going to take me to the finish line, and I'm trying to say, no, what got you here is not going to take you there. What
Yeah,
got you here from 14 to 18 is not going to take you there from 2021 to 2025,
yeah.
and so the last thing I'll say is like I'm spending a ton of time with funnels. Okay, and this
Mm,
is something a lot of people learned in the past 14, 15, 16 when I was obsessing about Amazon. A lot of people were obsessing about funnels, and you can't be an expert at everything, right? So you either find a great funnel guy or you find a great marketing guy off
yeah,
Amazon and you partner with them, or you go learn it yourself. And for me, I'm learning it right myself. So think about like TikTok to a landing page. That landing page having pixels on it for retargeting from Facebook,
yeah.
Instagram, maybe an email sign up. Click through to buy on Amazon on that landing page, so it filters
Mm-hmm.
out a lot of the traffic, and then directing them to a storefront or to a listing, tracking attribution, seeing BSR, how's it going,
Yeah,
and mirroring that kind of strategy, like a D2C traffic strategy. Not in every way. I'm not trying every single D2C thing
yeah.
possible, if that makes sense. But trying that strategy as a way to boost ranking on Amazon legally, like white hat.
Mm-hmm.
Amazon actually like wants you to send traffic. Just you need
Mm.
to send good traffic, and using that along with traditional great listings, PPC,
Yeah.
Vine reviews, like and anything else you can bring to the table. So other things I'm
Wow.
trying is Google PPC,
Mm.
email blasts,
Mm-hmm.
uh, micro influencers, macro
The
influencers,
same. Yeah.
all of these things. So many things can work. Uh, it's just a matter of picking something, dialing it in, and giving yourself the best opportunity to win, I think.
Yeah, I,
So
I think based on everything that we've been discussing so far, I think we can conclude, and maybe you can correct me at this, that we both think that at least right now in 2023, just putting a product on Amazon and doing only PPC, we think it's not enough, right? It's not
yeah,
enough to
it's
scale
gonna
up.
be, if you win, it's gonna be the exception, not the rule.
Yeah,
Like, it's possible. It's very much possible. I've seen products sell without PPC if they just have great off
yeah,
Amazon presence or something like that, or you're selling a product no one else has and there's
yeah,
demand.
something
But this is
patented or something like that.
that's
Yeah,
a diamond in the rough, right? Like, it's
that's right.
not, that's not the normal. So you should be planning for these other things. And if it works with just PPC or something, fantastic. Maybe if you launch in a new country, just
Mm-hmm.
PPC, for example, like you move into a new Amazon marketplace, PPC alone might be enough to get you going. But if we're talking Amazon.com, if we're talking the big
Yeah, you need
marketplaces,
these things.
you need some extra firepower.
Yeah, totally agree. I think, of course, as time goes by, especially the US is getting so professional when it comes to all these service providers, all these big companies coming to, I mean, aggregators even. I think is, yeah, the time of just putting the product, putting an automatic campaign like into 2015 and making money. I think those times are over.
It's over. It's over. But like, for the people that were in it to get rich quick or to like to build a quick
Yeah, yeah,
business and make
of
a quick
course.
buck, there's always those types of guys and girls like that are just
I
trying to
know.
make a quick buck. But for the
Yeah.
brand builders, it's still an amazing marketplace.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. That's awesome, Andrew. So thank you very much for, all this knowledge. It's very, important for keep spreading all these things that are happening in the space because, there's a lot of content out there that they keep saying, oh, take this cup from Alibaba, make millions in Amazon. I think we need to be honest with ourselves and share the knowledge that we see. We're working with all these brands, and I appreciate that. And
Thank you for the
also, I want to give
opportunity.
it's a pleasure, man. And I also want to give you a minute or so you can tell us more about where people can find you, your agency, if they want to hire you and all of that. Yeah.
Yeah, so on Instagram, I'm at Andrew Morgans, Morgans with an S. That's just my personal. I post my life, my travels, my trips, my
Mm.
thoughts,
Yeah.
things I think are great. It's not all Amazon, like,
Yeah.
just Amazon, Amazon, Amazon. So that's me. www.marknology.com is my website. I'm also on LinkedIn. I try to be available to everyone. Sometimes it takes me a couple of months to get on a
Yeah.
podcast, but I love getting on these. We just got through Q4 and my agency is growing. It's
Love it, man.
you can
Doing
be
an amazing
amazing
job.
at one thing and hold on both with two hands on other stuff, just along for the ride. So anywhere on social media, I'm available, guys. I love the chat. I love talking ecom. If you have a brand, you want to ask some questions, please just reach out. I'd love to chat.
Awesome, man. So thank you very much. Keep up the good work and hopefully see you in the next one, man. Yeah.
See you guys.
See ya. Bye bye.